morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions. Thank you for our time together. One of the things I'm going to teach you in services today during our offering thought is about inheritance. Now, the scripture says here in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22, "Good people leave an inheritance for their grandchildren, but a sinner's wealth passes to the godly." Isn't it fascinating that God has to speak to us about our inheritance? Because when the people of Israel were in the land of Goshen, in slavery, that whole season of their life, they'd left no inheritance for anybody. A slave has no inheritance. But as God began to talk to them about the promised land, all of a sudden now they were going to have an inheritance. And this was a big deal to the people of Israel. Just go through and look up the word inheritance. This was a big deal, that they would have an inheritance in the land. That they would have an inheritance in the land. And when Moses and the people of Israel got ready to go into the promised land, finally after the 40 years of wilderness wandering, two of the tribes wanted to remain behind, and they said, "We don't want an inheritance, we just want to stay here." But he said, "No, everybody has to get their inheritance in the land." Now, one of the things I want you to see is how important inheritance is for the building of wealth of a family and of a nation. Every generation is not supposed to start from zero. Every generation should grow from what has happened in the last generation. Now, I want to challenge you today. At some point, each one of our generations has to begin to build, cut back our consumption, cut back our lifestyle, and begin to build an inheritance for our children's children. One generation can change the destiny of a family. As a pastor, when we took over this church, we owned nothing. In fact, the property we were using, when we finally were able to get the titles in our name and pay the back taxes and the Laura Langley Act and all that, we had to pay penalties and things worth more than the property was worth. We started below zero. Not only did we not have an inheritance, we started below zero. So now I challenge you as a pastor. We need to leave an inheritance for our spiritual children's children. We need to leave the next generation a foundation to do greater things with than we've ever done. Every generation has to make a decision. Will I consume everything, or will I leave an inheritance for my children's children?